everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Dance Talk Realness, a podcast where we discuss all nuances concerning education and dance, because the dance experience is an experience worth talking about. I'm your host, Truly B. I'm here with my awesome co-host, Daryl P. Hey. And today, we will be discussing what I have now considered a new holiday classic. We're going to have to watch this every single year.
Yes.
And my kids will be okay. Actually, I really don't care. I'm going to watch it. They can do what they want at this point. They're old people. Yeah. But we'll be discussing some of our thoughts on the new-ish, because it's kind of been out for a little bit now, but new-ish musical, film, movie, whatever we're calling that, Jingle Jangle. So, yay. But before we jump into that, today's quote is from William Shakespeare.
Oh.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm out here reaching right now. With mirth and laughter, let old wrinkles come. And I was like, oh, yes, be happy. Yeah. And also to all of our listeners who do celebrate it, Merry Christmas, because this is our Christmas episode. Yay. For those who don't, I ain't say it to you. Said it to the ones who do. So, equal opportunity there. It's fine. But yes, so let's just jump right in. What were some of your initial big picture thoughts?
Well, kind of like how you started. Like, I think that this is for sure like the next, or it is like the Christmas classic that we didn't know we needed.
Yes.
What we got. Just because I think that it definitely, when I think about a lot of the Christmas movies that I've seen and the ones that are considered like the classics, right? Like, sometimes they seem very like, they're not really real world, but like, when I think of like Home Alone or A Christmas Story, right? Like I see like, well, I don't see because they're very white, but when you watch them, I think you see something that could be told or something that's really entertaining. And I think you sometimes get these movies like, when I think of like Elf or Polar Express, and I feel like this kind of has that whimsical, magical feel to it that I feel like we haven't gotten from a Christmas movie in a while. So it was really nice to kind of see like that on screen and like to see that coming back, because I feel like especially after a year like 2020, like that kind of like whimsical, magical storytelling just is needed.
Yes. I love your comparison to Polar Express. I didn't think about that one, but that is perfectly what I was trying to think of. I was like, dude, this is like putting me in the same feel as something. And Polar Express, definitely. Just the magic of it all. Wholeheartedly agree. After a year like this, it was like, but we need something a little bit like get us through the rest of this year. Like, give us something. And especially us. Right. Give us something, please and thank you. Because like you said, everything else, and everyone knows, very white. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm very not. So, I can connect to maybe the story some of the time, but to really see characters who are a reflection of you, like it can never be said enough that representation matters.
Right.
Like, when you have spent your entire life not seeing it, and then like as an adult now, we're starting to see it and we're just like, yes, this is what I needed. Yeah. And it's so awesome that like our kids are growing up and like this is normal to them. Right. And I'm just like, dang, like you don't know what it's like. You might have a inkling, but y'all really don't know what it's like to not see people who look like you and stuff. And I'm glad that that's a problem that they're not having so prevalently.
Yeah.
I don't know. This fire truck going by, disrespectful. All the sirens. Child, I promise I am in a safe location. It's a lot going on. But I think another thing, like big overall, is again like that tale of perseverance.
Mm-hmm.
And oh, it was so rough. Like, okay, we're just gonna jump into this thing. Okay, first of all, I was like, why folks always gotta die? Like, one parent always has to die, and I'm like, can we not? Like, can we stop doing that? Because that is distressing. But it was like everything was just so great, and then it went so left.
Right.
And it, like, when it went left, it went left. And I was like, yo, this is the worst. I hate it here. I don't want to watch the rest of this. I'm about to cry already.
Yeah.
And it was like, yo, y'all had to do me like that. That was messed up.
Right.
But then I'm like, okay, I guess it wouldn't have been the same story otherwise. And I'm like, all right, I guess that's cool or whatever. Yeah. But oh my God, I was like, why did mama gotta die?
Yeah.
Beautiful Black woman.
Yeah.
Y'all just gonna kill her like that?
Yeah, right.
I'm hurt. But that part aside, there were also multiple storylines to follow, which I'm sure that's kind of maybe the case in other holiday films we've watched, maybe possibly, but to this extent, nothing is like popping up immediately.
Right.
Definitely following the granddaughter.
Right.
Which for me like was a continuation of the daughter's story, which part of me was like, I low-key was like, but can I get a little bit more of like the daughter's story? Right. Because sis went through it. Like they had like a little cutaway for it, but I was like, but I need a little bit more. How does little girl get here? I want details. I'm nosy. I want to know. But I appreciated that they did not only focus on the granddaughter, that focus was still on the grandfather.
Right.
And like, so I'm like, we started with his story, and then we just kind of added stories on top.
Yeah.
Without, to me, losing the quality of that original storyline, which is difficult to do because sometimes people try to branch off and it'd be too much. And you're like, I don't know what we're talking about anymore. Right. But I think it was extremely well crafted. I really, outside of, I hate that a parent always has to die. And that's just a personal preference. But in the actual viewing experience, I can't really say that there was anything that I was like, yeah, maybe y'all shouldn't have done that, or y'all could have done this differently, or it was okay. It was like from start to finish. Like, I know that if I will sit and watch the end credits, you did something. And I sat and watched the end credits because I'm just like, yes, who helped? Who did what? Because thank you. Like, come through. Yes.
Yeah.
But the hair, the costuming.
Yeah, the dancing, the singing, yeah.
I loved it. And I know some people hate musicals because they're like, who just be randomly singing? I'm like, I live with people who just randomly bust out singing in the middle of the day. I think I do it too. So it's like, people do it. Maybe not the full song, but we do it. But I think it didn't take away at all. To me, it wasn't jarring to make that switch. And the dancing, I was like, oh, y'all better go ahead now. Okay, I'm here for this. Yes. Can we have an extended cut dance? Like, can we? Because I'm here for it.
Yeah. Did you read who's the choreographer for?
Child, let me look it up.
Okay.
Because I had it written down, but let me tell you, I don't know where that notebook is at all. And I just have not committed names to memory.
Yeah. But
they did an amazing job. First of all, that's not how you spell any of these things. Child. Ooh, I'm spelling all the words wrong. Wow. Yes. First thing that comes up, Ashley Wallen. Is this the right person? Let me be sure before I be like, yes, this person. Let me be sure, because sometimes I just be clicking on things. Okay, so yes, Ashley Wallen is the correct name. I'm making sure this is the correct picture before I show this. Okay, yeah, okay. I went into an actual article. I don't know if you can.
Okay, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So, like, I'm through. Yeah. I like it. I like it a lot. Yeah. And I think I really enjoy when people choreograph the costumes also.
Yes.
Because I'm like, that's a whole different type of movement right there. And so I feel like every component was really taken into consideration. And I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
I high key want to watch it again. I'm like, let's just watch just the dance parts. Like, enjoy the whole thing. But also, I'm like, yes, movement. Yes, partner. I always love good partnering sections. Mm-hmm. I'm always down for that.
Yeah.
Group partnering? Yes, always. I'm always here for it. Love it. So, yes. Yeah. I'm now going to look into more of his stuff because...
Yeah, well, he did The Greatest Showman, which I thought was really... I looked at it too, which was really interesting too.
I still haven't seen it.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how.
Yeah.
I feel like my kids have seen it.
Yeah.
And I just... I know how. School.
Right.
I'm always doing something else. So I was like, nope, that's why. I saw them watching it. They're like, you want to watch? I'm like, I'm writing a paper. I'll catch it later. And I just never caught it. But, so now that gives me more motivation to try to catch up on that.
What did you think of the casting choices?
Okay, so...
To be real, it's
let me tell you, shadiest thing I've ever heard. 2/3 of my children were like, well, why did they cast this guy as the old Mr. Jangle? Because they're different skin colors. And I'm like, I almost hollered. I was like, y'all, we need to have a whole conversation now, because what are you talking about? I was like, first of all, not really, not for real.
Yeah.
But okay, like, this is really a conversation we're having, but that's cute. And I just wanted to bring that to the world, that my kids be tripping. And they be looking at some details that I'm like, I don't think anybody was even looking at that part. And it was, I'm like, they said that about him, and they said it about what was that character's name? The betrayer. Him.
Oh.
That
was it,
Michael Keaton ended up playing. They're like, and I'm like, they're also different shades, y'all. But it's not like it's like, okay, well, they went from being like a pale, redheaded Caucasian to like the darkest skinned Black person you could find. I was like, that would have been concerning. I'll be like, I don't know how y'all made this leap. But I was like, y'all tripping. Like, y'all tripping. Mm-hmm. But my ridiculous children aside, I think the only difficulty I had with casting was with Michael Keegan Key. Not that he's not good. Like, it's very well. But in my mind, I could not separate him from what I know him for.
Right.
And predominantly all I've ever seen him do is comedic stuff. Right. So it was very hard for me to separate that while I was watching, which was, no shot against him. But that was hard.
Mm-hmm.
Towards the end, he sold me a little bit better.
Yeah.
And it was literally, and I can tell you the exact moment. I mean, spoiler alert. I mean, hell, we've been talking about this thing this whole time. So at this point, sorry, don't click on it if you don't want to know. So like, that's just y'all's fault. So at the very end, when he gets told that, you know, like, if you would have just waited, I would have given you everything. And I was like, first of all, almost cried at that part. I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, because I was like, let me tell you who's not that loving. Me. I would have burnt that gift up. Like, you wouldn't be getting this ever. I don't care if we ever reconcile. You're not getting this present. We'll have to get a new one. So the fact that he kept it and was still there was still some type of love there.
Right.
And his reaction to hearing that, to me, was the most believable one. Yeah. That one quick moment is what sold me on him in that role. But then it's like also the end. Right. But it was like that look of like, you know, you fucked up.
Right.
And all the things that could have been different and could have been better, it's like they just all come flooding in, and like that look of like just sheer regret. Yeah. And I was like, you sold me there, sir. That's where you sold me. But everything prior to that, I was very, especially with the banter between him and like the little toy man.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It just, I just wanted less comedic. And that just may have been how I saw it.
Yeah.
I want to say everyone else, I think, was cast very well. Mm-hmm. That little boy was annoying as shit, though. I was like, somebody done beat his whole ass. Like, little boy, please leave. Like, what are you doing? Oh, I did not like him. Yeah. Oh, I tried to. Because I'm like, okay, it's a kid. Like, it's okay. And I'm like, nah, I don't like you. Like, what are you doing the most? Keep trying to run off. Keep trying to be a whole snitch out here in these streets. If you don't go somewhere, sit down or get this together. Drove me insane. And so I did enjoy when he finally at the end, he was like, oh, I'm an inventor. Oh. That was cute. But also I didn't like him the whole movie. It was like, this kid's annoying. I don't like him.
Right.
Like, don't be questioning her. Who you think you are? Child, I was over him. Which, you know, if that was the intent of that character, then that child did amazing, because I was like, ugh.
Right.
Ugh. But yeah, I think everyone else. Forrest Whitaker. Didn't hate him in the role.
Right.
I couldn't name someone for you that I would have rather seen do it.
Who?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, I cannot name someone.
Yeah.
But it was all right.
Yeah.
I could get behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on the casting?
I mean, I kind of agree. Like, I think that it's hard to see someone. It's like I've seen a movie with like Jim Carrey. It's really hard to like see him in a serious role. It's another thing too. Like when I was watching, Why Did I Get Married? Mm-hmm. And it's just something about when Tyler Perry will say a certain thing, when he's like male Tyler Perry, he just sounds like Medea. And then all of a sudden I'm just like, well, now I can't unhear Medea's voice when I hear you speak. Because it's not even like Medea is a voice, right?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it is. Maybe there is like, I mean, obviously, there is like an accent or like an inflection that he puts on words and everything for Medea. But that's also, I think, like a loose-lipped Tyler Perry being country. It's Medea. So yeah, I get that. Like, for Keegan-Michael Key. Like when you see him and you hear him speak, like you're just expecting it to be solely comedy and not just like, you know, in a serious role. You know, it's funny seeing Felicia Rashad in this after just watching, you know, Hot Chocolate Nutcracker, and I also think too, like the, you know, just the, not even the juxtaposition of both of those, because I think that that was I don't know, planned, but like just having both of those two, one documentary and one movie come out, like it's just really nice to see just Black faces doing like holiday shows, like taking the traditional Nutcracker and turning it upside down, and you know, and taking like a story like this and putting it out there, I think is important to just like, once again, it's just important to what everything 2020 meant.
Yes.
And what we've kind of been struggling with, or, you know, just trying to change really about the industry, right? And about what our future children, what they see on TV, and if they see themselves in that. So I think that that's really, really cool. So yeah, applaud to Felicia and Debbie.
Yeah. And I had to let my kids know. I was like, oh, they're sisters.
Yeah.
And they're like, who? And I'm like, y'all. Like Debbie Allen, Felicia Rashad. Like they're like sister. I was like, yeah, it's like sisters. And they're like, oh, wow. I was like, I know, right? Yeah. I remember when I found that out too. And I was like, yo, really? And I'm like, yeah. So I did that. That was cool that worked out, because I didn't know she was in this, like when we were first planning to watch them. And I was like,
I know.
Okay, we got connections. I see it. But yeah, it
we're playing that role as the Black mama. You know what I mean? Like that's also.
But when I tell you somebody who like can live in that role, Felicia Rashad.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes, Black mom.
Yes.
Yes. That will both snatch you up and speak kindly to you. It's just like, this is a weird mix, but I'll allow it. Like, this is nice. I like it. But yeah, it there was also something to me that, I don't know, maybe unpopular opinion, controversial opinion, whatever. I know it can be offensive to say this, but you know, is what it is. That it was a Black movie. And I appreciated that. Not to say that I don't like Black movies that are specifically like, but nah, we a Black movie though. And I'm like, oh, okay. I got you. Yeah. It was nice to not have the things that usually get associated with that label come along. Because I ain't gonna hold you, to me, it still is a Black movie. Still is. I'm like, yeah, there's other folks in there, but all my leads look like me.
Yeah.
It's a Black movie. It is. But unfortunately, there are a lot of stereotypes that get attached to Blackness. That's actually part of my research, because I'm like, y'all can't separate that. Like, we know how to separate it.
Yeah.
Why can't everybody else figure that out? Like, why is it that if you hear it's a Black movie, you're like, oh, then XYZ is going to happen because that's what y'all do? And it's like, well, first the fuck of all, we're just people, y'all. Start there. Regular people. A lot of things that they be like, oh, well, that's just a Black thing. I'm like, actually, a lot of people do this that aren't us. You're just insisting upon that. So it and I feel like this was a conversation I was having with a friend, is that I'm trying to really parse out how to really be able to discuss Blackness without the negative connotations. And I just don't know that in this country that that's going to be a thing anytime soon. But I feel that films like this help with that dialogue, because it's not, I hesitate to say feeding into stereotypes, because they don't all. Some of them do. But it's not even that part. It's just like, yeah, no, we just want to tell you a story. Like, that's all we're trying to do.
Right.
We're just letting you know that this happened. We just want to discuss this. Like, that's it. And it's for some reason, it seems so hard for people to accept that we can do that. Like,
but well, I was going to say, do you think that a couple things? So do you think that people who are not Black will look at this, see a not an all Black cast, but a very, like a lead heavy, where the leads are all Black, and think, well, maybe I shouldn't watch this because it's Black and I won't understand it? And on the flip side of that, do you think that because some of the stereotypes that we as Black people even know happens in our movies, do you think that there are some Black people who won't watch it because they feel like, well, this isn't Black enough?
Quick answer to that second one, yup. So going back to the first question first. I ain't gonna hold you. First one, I would hope not. I would hope that everyone gives it a fair shot, because it is great. And that's not me just saying it because the leads look like me. I'm like, okay, it's actually just really good. Like, so I would hope that no one feels that, oh, well, since it's like, you know, a Black dominant type of film, that, oh, well, I won't know what's happening, I won't get it, I shouldn't watch it. And I think another part of that is the fact that there's not a lot of coded things. It's how I'm gonna say that. There's not a lot of coded things in it where if you don't know, you don't know, and it's like, yikes, you just missed that whole situation because you don't know that, and we do. Now, to be fair, it could also be that there were some in there and I'm like, it's just because I know them and it ain't phased me none, because I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. But I believe that there weren't really any, and if there were, they were minuscule at best. So I would definitely recommend it. I think it's accessible to everyone. Now on the flip, because you're always going to get those. They're like, well, it ain't Black enough. And I'm like, okay, then that's like me saying something is too Black. Like, you can't be mad at me saying that if you're not also going to be mad at someone saying this isn't Black enough. I'm like, okay, then what's Black? What's Black enough? I'm like, that blows me all the time. Like, I hate it. Because I'm like, that's not a call you get to make, because as I write in every paper that I write now, Blackness is not monolithic. We don't all have the same experience. In fact, we can be from the same house, have a completely different Black experience. Like, me and my brother have completely different Black experiences. And, you know, obviously, yes, some of that is because male, female, whatever. But even if I had, it was me and a sister, or if I was his brother, like, we could still fool around and have two completely different experiences. And I'm like, same household, same neighborhood, same parents, same upbringing. We're not all the same. And so you know what? That's what the fuck bothers me about it, is that I'm like, you're not going to sit here and tell other people to not say we're not all the same. Like, don't tell other people to stop saying we're all the same when you're also trying to say that we're all the same. Like, pick a side. Either we are or we are not. Right. Yes, in the real world, there's gray area and that's cool or whatever. But what I'm saying is, no, it ain't. Not for this. Mm-mm. Either we are all the same or we are not. And I lean towards we are not. Yeah. So if I'm going to tell someone who is white, Asian, Hispanic, Native American, whatever, that, hey, yo, you can't be sitting here talking about all black folks are the same. Right. Then in that same breath, I'm going to tell somebody black that you're not about to sit up here and say that we are the same, because we are definitely not. But again, you're going to have those people who are, they beyond that. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, to me, there's a difference between that false narrative of we're all the same and an acknowledgement of there are similarities that run throughout, that just culturally some things have stayed consistent. Right. And I'm like, that to me is a truer sentence, that I'm like, you know what? Okay. Things that I was taught growing up in Detroit, I've had friends who somewhere else in the country grew up, they black too. And that thing be the same. Like, yes, ring. Sorry. You fine. He's like, ooh.
I saw that pop up. I'm just like, oh
yes, God, realness, yes.
Yeah, like, is this gonna cut off? Is this gonna?
But yeah, like the respect for like matriarchs in the family. Mm-hmm. That was pretty consistent. With other black people that I've met that were brought up differently from me. It's just a thing. Like, that's something that carried over from somewhere. But it carried over though. And so I'm like, okay, but we can have that in common and still be like, okay, but we're not all the same though. Like, if for no other reason than we're different people. Number one. Number two, still have different upbringings. We didn't all grow up in the same place. I remember it used to irk me. People assume that since I'm from Detroit, that by default, hood. And I'm like, okay, y'all, look, Detroit is a little rough. Okay, I give you that. Cool, fine. There were still neighborhoods that weren't though. Like, y'all ain't gotta come for all of us. Right. And for the people who were in the rougher areas, okay, don't come for them either. Like, come for my city again if you want to. Yeah. So all that aside, so again, like people who I went to college with, who we went to the same high school, from the same city. Mm-hmm. In my group, it was 6 of us. 6 way different upbringings, 6 completely different people. And I remember it was annoying because they, for like a little bit, they would just call all of us Detroit. That's how they would refer to us. And we're like, yo, we have names. Learn it. Like, stop calling me that. Like, because it'd be one thing if you were just calling me as an individual that, like, I still might look at you a little funny. But literally, it's a group of us and you're just calling all of us that because you're like, oh, well, y'all are like this. And it's like, we have similarities, but we're different people. So all that to say, it's going to be some black folks out there saying this ain't black enough, and they can kick all the rocks that are sharp and jagged with no shoes or socks on in this cold temperature. That's what they can do, because it's like, okay, well, you go live your life then. The rest of us are going to enjoy the greatness. So, yes, those are my thoughts. Yeah. But let's see. I feel like there was something else. This is why I be writing notes, and this is why I should remember where I put them. I guarantee you I'm going to find them after we're done. Guaranteed. I hate that so much. Okay. So let me ask you this question. So that Joker was long than a mug. Like, we had to pause it, take a break. Because I was like, y'all, I got to use the bathroom. I need to grab a snack, something. Like, I can't sit here through this whole thing.
Yeah.
Like 2 hours, I believe.
Yeah.
Maybe just shy.
That's long.
Do you think that it would have still had the same pull, the same quality if they had cut it shorter?
You know, there's something about long movies that I enjoy because sometimes I feel like they are very full and they don't feel like the length that they are, right? Mm-hmm. And I feel like when you start to notice the length, I would say there could have been some editing. I just wouldn't know where. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know where you would have taken out because I just think that you got the story that you got right, and it felt like it felt informative. Like, I mean, clearly there's some storyline where we could have seen more, and therefore, so I'm pretty sure they were like, "Yeah, we just made a 4-hour movie."
You're like, "Woo, y'all!
Y'all, we just made 4 hours, so
we got to cut this."
And they were like, "Just shy of 2 hours should be okay." And we're like, "No."
Like, y'all couldn't find 30 more minutes to cut. You're sure? You're positive? 30 more?
30 more, just a little bit. But, you know, when I think about, but I guess we think about if maybe, and I would love to research more on like the background to the producing and writing of the story, because when I think about like, I sure as hell sat through almost 3 hours of Hamilton on Disney Plus, you know what I mean? And was like in it, you know? So
yes.
So and I think if really maybe there will be this push now in the industry, especially when you want to combine all these elements now for these movie musicals, that they are kind of longer because that's what you would have seen in the theater, and we're not. I mean, and who knows when we're gonna get something like that again? And then once we get it again, who knows if we will be among the people who can afford to see that. I think we talked about before about how you know what will theater pricing and everything look like post COVID. You know, will it be this elite kind of society? I think maybe it's getting us used to, you know, watching those full length things again, where, you know, it is a 2.5 hour concert or play or musical or whatnot. That being said, it could have been shorter.
Child. I was like, we had to take our own intermissions. I was like, whew.
Right, and I think, especially if you think about, I mean, yes, I think the length is great for a young adult audience, but making it, if you want it to be something where children enjoy it, I mean, that's when you have to kind of think about how can I make something that's going to keep their attention for, you know, God, I mean, most Disney movies are like just over an hour. Like, half the time they're like 68 minutes or 72 minutes. Like, I mean, they're hour 10, hour 20. Like, that's about it. And sometimes those feel really long.
Yes.
But yeah, but I think about like movies like The Sound of Music, right? Like, you know, that's super long. But, you know, I think maybe, but I wonder if they had put like I guess it's not long enough to have like an intermission in it. So I wonder if they had put like here's a minute to pause and go to the restroom. We know
like, take a break, y'all. Take a break.
Take a tiny break. I wonder if maybe if they thought about that. But I mean, it's just under 2 hours. So I mean, I've watched several
Yeah. And that you're right. That's true.
Yeah.
And if we were like in real life, we probably would have had that intermission.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to take that as that was my real life experience. We had an intermission.
Yeah.
Cause I was like, y'all, I gotta use the bathroom. Like I can't sit through another hour. Like, wait.
And I just looked it up. It is over 2. It's 2 hours and 2 minutes.
Ooh, child, look. I want to say I made it to an hour and 2 minutes, and I was like, y'all, pause.
Yeah.
Pause. Because one of the kids, they were like, we still have 59 minutes. And I'm like, what you mean?
You're like rocking, like, what you mean?
Like, we haven't resolved this yet. And it's like, nope, okay. Like, I'll be back. Let me go handle this, go get a snack, something to drink, regroup, and then power through. But to be fair, I was engaged in watching it.
Right.
Even though I still am like, I just, like the little Tin Man. We could have cut him, right?
Yeah. Do you think for someone who was like 6 or 7, do you think they would have been engaged the whole time?
I'll say my 10-year-old was struggling. So 6 or 7 might have been rough, unless it's like one of those rare kids who is like laser focused anytime it's anything dealing with something they're interested in.
Yeah.
I think that would have been a tougher sell. Especially like without a break. I don't know that. I'm trying to picture like my kids when they were that age. The princess could have done it because she's always, oh wow, yeah, no, she's always loved musicals, so she would have been about it.
Yeah.
Both boys would have needed a break.
Yeah.
Or I would have had to just accept that they would be talking to me for at least half of it. And I'm like, this is the worst. Even when they are enjoying it and engaged, they will still talk. And I'm like, y'all don't know not to talk during movie. Pause. Let's go back to this too black, not black enough situation. So apparently, I ain't black enough because I'd be like, y'all really be talking during movies? Like, yo, shut up. I paid to see the movie, not hear you. And I understand in theory, because I low-key don't really understand. But in theory, that some people are like, well, that's part of the experience, is y'all are watching it together as a community and like sharing in
like,
this.
Oh my God, did you just see that? Like,
and it's like,
why
but I'm like,
why did they do that?
No, like obviously I saw it. I'm sitting next to you watching it, and now I just missed like the next 3 lines because you're sitting here asking me, did I see it? Right. Oh, I hate that so much, and my kids do it. Oh my God. And I mean, like when the outside was really open, can be in the movie theater. And I thought I had trained them to know not to talk to me during. Right. Let me tell you, we'll be like, tap, tap, tap. Mommy. Tap, tap, tap. Did you hear that? I'm like, I done missed like 5 lines now fooling with you. Did you hear what they just said? Now I don't know what the conversation's about. Right. Now I don't know what's happening. Now I don't know. Thanks. Yeah. Thanks. Like, oh my God, it's the worst. I hate it. But to circle back. Yeah, I think for like the younger crowd, I feel like they would be able to watch it, but I don't know that like a sit and really be like in it the whole time. I think that would be a little bit harder of a sell. They might need little breaks. Yeah. Definitely snacks. Yeah. Definitely a bathroom break. Mm-hmm. But I think they would enjoy it. Yeah. For the most part, there's enough colorful things happening that are attention grabbers, and I think for the most part, they will be able to follow, like the main story. But I think younger than 10, unless they're one of those kids that's like they're into it. Yeah. I think it would probably be a tougher sell. Yeah. Yeah. They need like a Cliff Notes version. Like we just need the highlights, guys. We just need the highlights. Just get them. We just want the kid to know what this is, and then when they get older, we'll let them like really watch it.
Really watch it, yeah.
And then they can like fully enjoy the experience.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I want to watch it again now. It's very enjoyable. I liked it.
Yeah.
Definitely on the list to watch every year now.
Yes, for sure.
It's well, actually, you know what? That raises a question because this was not like released in theaters.
Right.
Are they like, since it was released on Netflix, like, are they?
It's not a Netflix movie though, is it?
I don't know. I hope not. Because I'm like, I need y'all to be able to come out with like, this is so old. I want a DVD. I just want it. I don't know that we'll actually use that DVD.
Netflix production. Oh, maybe this is a Netflix.
Okay, well then we're gonna have to make sure that every year they got it up there then.
Yeah, I mean, there's some other production I actually know. It just was shown on Netflix, but it was distributed by Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that necessarily. It's not a Netflix film, if that makes sense. So like, it's not like Netflix did not make this, but it was just shown on it. So I guess essentially they can release it to like Prime or to like HBO or like, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Like it could be on like a network.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I just need them to do whatever they need to do to make sure we can see it every year.
Yes.
However they work that out.
Mm-hmm.
I need them to work that thing out. All right. Awesome.
Yeah.
So again, to everyone, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, all that jazz. The next time we see you all, it will be a new year. Yeah. Eek. That's wild. But everyone stay safe out there. If you have any questions for us, feel free to drop us a line under any of the places where you find us. Child, I may have just given up on listing the things. Y'all will work this thing out. Y'all got it.
You know,
reach us how you reach us. Yeah. Let us know. Yeah. We're always looking for some fresh new content to bring you. So if you have suggestions, we'll take them. But we look forward to seeing you next year. Y'all stay safe. All right. Bye.